Coach, these next 4 games feature 3 ranked opponents. How much will this upcoming stretch of games will serve as a measuring stick of how good this team can be?
Yeah, I think it's. I think the good thing about this stretch is we're going to really figure out, going into January, some of our strengths and some of our weaknesses. So, the first two are obviously monsters because it's conference games. So, it will really dictate what we're doing, and it's interesting. The 4 teams all play such different styles from each other. So it's going to be a really good test for us. But I think at the same time, it's going to be a good chance for us to, because we do have a break after these 4 games. We have 8 days after these 4 games that we'll be able to really throw some stuff out, keep some stuff, and then maybe reinvent some stuff.
Kind of big picture, but a month and a half ago you were saying that the start of the season would not be smooth, and you had a bunch of guys with different schemes, and they're still messing up drills. What has been different that led to such a steady start?
I think I underestimated. I think the one good thing is that we do have an older group, so I think the fact that they've been able to understand game plans much quicker than I thought they were. I really underestimated how. Jameer, Don, especially at the guard spot, they have really picked up stuff that we've done at the front of the press and in the zone. And then Dante, like Juju is really good at scouting reports. He really gets it. So I think that's really helped us get off to a better start than I thought we'd get off to.
Coach, your first big home game here, really. What are some of the things that maybe Mark or Gary have told you about how big of an advantage this place can really be when it's rocking?
Well, Gary likes to talk about Cole Fieldhouse a lot, so, I mean, it's a nice football facility now. But, when I got the job, it was more or less Scott Van Pelt has really talked about what a great building this is. I think the alumni have been more, like Scott, some of the guys I was out with in the summertime have really talked about what an advantage this building can be. So I've gotten it more from those people than anybody.
Coach, what jumps out on film from Illinois, particularly Terrence Shannon, too, who's had a monster start to the season?
I think what makes Illinois so tough is the fact that the way they start with Hawkins at the center spot, they space you out. They do a lot of 5-out, dribble handoff, back cuts, and then they come in with the big fella and they pound you inside and still space you out, but really go inside out. And I think Terrence Shen is probably right now, if I was going to say a national player of the year, it's probably him. I mean, he is playing absolutely unbelievable. The way he's shooting it from what he did in the past, he's not even hitting the rim. So I give the kid a lot of credit because he's playing. Now he's only shooting the ball at a high level, but he's really attacking off the bounce maybe better than he was the last couple of years I saw him. But I think what makes Illinois really tough, they play fast, much different than they did last year with Kofi. But they play 2 different styles in the same game. I mean, with their starting unit, it's fast, but it's spaced out. And then the second unit comes in, and they really pound it inside and play physical. So I think that's the biggest. It's why I think they're so good.
Coach, through this first month, I mean, what kind of vibe are you getting from the guys? Are just after all these wins, is it just happiness? Is it a little surprise? Is it hungry for more? Like, what's the vibe that you're getting from them?
I don't know. They're not a big rah-rah group, so it's been kind of like, just it's been fun because we just come and just work the same way the whole time. I mean, I think that's why I enjoy this group so much. There's no the emotions are just pretty much the same. They come, they understand that they're winning because they're working hard. They're winning because they have a great attitude. So they just keep coming that way.
Is it nice? I mean, like when they actually can see the results and see it's early on still, but I mean when you can see the results, something has to be said for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's said for in any line of work, that when you put a lot of hard work in, you have a great attitude, you get rewarded for it. So I think they're all playing really well because of how hard they've worked. But they're not I mean, sometimes I think they're asleep in film, and they're all paying attention, and you think you're asleep in practice, and next thing you know, it's like guys are diving into the stands. I mean, so they're all kind of really, really nice guys, but we don't have like a. I guess I'm the rah-rah guy, which I wouldn't look good in a cheerleading outfit for sure. So.
Hey, Coach. So Dante Scott has shot great from 3 this season. Was that something you were necessarily expecting coming into the season, and how has that diversified your offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think once when Dante lost his weight, like everything became easier for him. And I think the one thing that always plagued Dante a little bit was Dante has always played extremely physical and plays hard. But when he was carrying a little extra weight, I think his shooting percentage would go down because it would kind of wore him down a little bit. He's shooting the ball better now because I think he's in such great shape. So what I saw as he began getting in better shape was a guy that, I thought, he could make 4 to 5 threes a game.
And for Patrick Emilian, he's sort of been a great contributor on the defensive side, but sort of has that non-traditional shooting motion. Is that something he's been working on, or?
No, you don't fix that after. I think Pat's like 27. Like, you don't go there. Like, you just say let it rain, and Pat has a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence in Pat, but you don't try to fix something in 3 months that's technically unfixable. I mean, Pat makes shots in practice. He makes shots when we do drills. It's just I think Pat gets a little flustered because the first time he shoots, the whole crowd goes, and he gets a little like, what's everybody talking about? So Pat's a good shooter. He's a good free throw shooter, too. He missed free throws the other night just because he's coming off an ankle injury, and he was more gassed than he was anything else. So Pat's been a huge, huge addition. I mean, not only is he backing up the 5 spot, he's backing up Dante. His numbers don't show how good he is offensively, but he is really, really good offensively for what we're doing and what we need him to do.
Going back to Dante, what prompted that physical transformation? Was there a conversation, or with you, Kyle, anybody that prompted it?
I mean, yeah, I just asked him if he wanted to be a pro, and he said he did want to be a pro. And I said, then I brought up all the weights and body fats of every 2-guard and small forward in the NBA, and I showed them what their body fat was, and I showed them pictures of what their bodies looked at, and I told them to look in the mirror. It was just kind of like, if you really want to be a pro, this is what you have to do. This is because I knew his game. I knew how hard he played. I knew what a great young man he had all the other things. He just didn't understand like that was the thing holding him back. And sometimes you just need a different voice or a different set of eyes to kind of see it or help you see it. That was about probably after my press conference. I met with everybody and I told them that. I said, this is what we can do for you. This is what I think my system can do for you. It's what it's done for other kind of trail formats. It's been very successful. If you put the dedication in, you will get rewarded. And he bought in. The weight vest helped too.
Coach, you talk about being rewarded for performance and effort at this stage of the season. The type of crowd and the type of energy that this team will receive on Friday night, do you think they'll embrace that reward for what they've gone through so far?
I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous about it just because we have played really, really, really hard. And I'm like I said, the schedule is my fault. I take a lot of blame for the fans not being here. But we've played in an empty building. But we have still played extremely hard. I mean, I get calls from coaches, fans. I've had every opposing coach call me and be like, how do you get your kids to play that hard? So I am a little tempered just to make sure that we don't go out and we don't gas ourselves out with a great crowd. Because again, Don played at Georgetown last year. Jameer played at Charlotte. Haven't played in front of big crowds, especially at home. So I will talk to him a little bit about just making sure we don't go out and just I'm not worried about the game. More or less worried about warm-ups and in that aspect. You'd be surprised how many guys can gas themselves out when all of a sudden 15,000 people in the building and you're going through 2-line layups and you're going to show everybody you can windmill dunk. and you do it like 7 times and you don't do it, it can wear you out. So I think that's more what I'm worried about. I'm looking forward to the crowd. I think it's going to be great, and I think that's what needs to be to have a great college program. You need a great home court advantage.
You just mentioned how coaches call you, asking you how do you get these guys to play that hard. So when I ask you, like, how did you get them
It's
to buy
my
into
secret
this?
sauce. It's what we put in the Gatorade. No, I have a real simple philosophy. I wasn't able to shoot the basketball when I played. Like, my job as a player was to get Vonteego Cummings the ball, to get Mark Blunt the ball, don't shoot. And I was a miserable player because I just didn't have the confidence that when I did get an open shot, I wasn't going in because I didn't have the confidence. I tell all my guys very simply, if you play hard and you play hard on the defensive end, you can take any shot and you can do whatever you want on the offensive end. That's the deal. And it's a pretty good trade-off. If you play hard and you play defense, I've never taken anybody out for taking a shot. I've never taken anybody out for a turnover, for a play, nor will I on the offensive end. They have the total freedom. And that's why sometimes we take shots and people are like, well, that's a bad shot, it's bad offense. And it's like, yeah, okay, but that guy's playing 37 minutes and he is playing extremely hard and he's playing defense. So there has to be a trade-off. You can't sit there and say, we're going to play that hard on defense and then, you know what, don't shoot. Or it just doesn't work. And I think that's, I don't, that's why I have guys shoot from half court at times, why guys, take shots they do. As long as they play hard, they're good.
And a follow-up, do you find yourself kind of reminding the guys that even after these commanding wins that, like you said after Louisville, that this is not going to last? There are going to be some moments where you guys are going to have to face adversity.
Why can't it last?
I was just going off of what you said.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest. If I could go 7-0 and win by 30 every game to start the season, I'd sign up for that. No, we have talked about it, but what more we've talked about is more or less like sustaining our level of play, how we've gotten here. I've talked more about that. I think we can play at a high level as long as we keep practicing at a high level and our attitude's at a high level.
Obviously a great start to the season, but I'm curious if there's one or two things that you want your guys to improve on specifically moving forward.
I've said this before. I'll never tell anybody what. I know there's a lot of things that we have to improve on, but that's between me and my long list of notepad that I have.
Is that part of this?
No, I mean, that's just part of me being somewhat of an average coach and understanding that I still have a lot of stuff that I have to do to get my team better.
Noah Batchelor's been getting some run with the second unit recently. What have you liked from him in practice and in the game?
Yeah, I mean, that second unit is tough just because we have a lot of guys in practice that can get time. The thing about the second unit is we've had guys, Pat got hurt, Ike's been sick for, a lot this season, unfortunately. Noah's been really steady in practice, and as a freshman at this level, there's not a lot of guys. If you look, I mean, Illinois is interesting because their freshman guards have really, I think they've played on a level that's really impressive. But when you don't have the ball in your hand, you're one of those guys. I think Noah's really worked hard. He's making good strides on the defensive end, which he needs to. And I think he's a guy that, when he's on the court, is a real weapon. Thank you, everybody.